What's up? Welcome into your Daily Buckeye Blitz for a Thursday, a thirsty Thursday. It's always a thirsty Thursday around here. June 20th, 2024. Hope you're doing well. This week has really flown by, man. I have not been able to get ahead of the game yet. Trying to come up with content for these shows and stuff, man, plus work and putting this shit together. So, anyways, please visit thebuckeyecast.com. Check out the gear. Get yourself a shirt, hat, whatever you like, water bottle, travel mug. Load that thing up with some liquor. That's what I would do. Take it to the beach. Today we're talking about Ryan Day's press conference the other day. Kind of middle of summer updates on the Buckeyes. We got training camp coming up right around the corner. That should be like the end of July. You got Big Ten Media Days, I believe, in the middle of July. So Ryan Day met with the media on Tuesday to give some updates. Let's get right into it now. So first off, he talked about the offensive line and their options after spring. So there's two parts to their evaluation process after spring ball. One was the experiment with Josh Fryer at either guard or tackle on the right side. So which was the best spot for the team and for the O-line, that was the question. So nothing concrete came out of spring. So it's a safe bet that Fryer is going to be back at right tackle as your starter for the Buckeyes when training camp opens in August. The other option was to improve the O-line through the transfer portal. The staff and the scouting department, they combed through the portal, probably still are, but there's nobody jumping in unless they're a grad transfer, So there's nothing available that's worth it. So Ohio State feels comfortable with the guys they have on the O-line, just about making it work with what they have, right? Ryan Day said, quote, "If we're going to bring somebody in, it's to fill a hole. We're not just going to bring somebody in to bring somebody in. At all positions, we'll always look to see what's out there. We did evaluate some of the guys that were out there. There were a couple of guys that we checked on, but ultimately, based on where we were and some of the young guys that are coming up, we felt like we saw some progress in the offensive line this spring. That's key when you talk about development. Justin Fry, that's part of his job, is developing these young guys into starters." So Ryan Day continued on, quote, "So that there's also weren't as many folks in the portal. After the spring, we looked at it and we identified it. We did our due diligence, but we're going to go with what we have now." So that leaves right guard to be the only position on the O-line where there's a battle heading into fall camp. That kind of makes me feel good, honestly, because that means that the rest of the line, 4/5 of it, is solidified. You just got to decide on, and the nice thing is, the luxury is at that right guard spot, you got 3 guys to choose from. So that's good. If you just have like 1, maybe 2 guys to choose from, you're like, well, just throw your hands up here, like just put somebody in there. But we got 3 quality dudes. Relatively. I mean, I'm still out on Hinsman. That's just my opinion. But Tegra Shabola, third-year guy. Luke Montgomery, second-year guy, but played a lot as a freshman. So, and then Hinsman, second-year guy. Yeah. So you got 3 good choices. At least Hinsman played a lot of ball, started 12 games. Yeah, 12 games, not the bowl game. So you got 3 good quality choices there to put it right guard. So we'll see what happens there in fall camp. Ryan Day also talked about Caleb Downs getting some action at running back. He didn't make any guarantees about actual game snaps and stuff like that, but when they recruited Downs the first time and the second time when he was in the portal, the Ohio State staff talked about getting him some action on offense. So Ryan Day said they got him some snaps in spring practice, and they did even pitch him an option play in the offense back in spring. So he was also in the running back meetings occasionally this summer. So Looks like they would use him out of the backfield. But the Buckeyes have plenty of talent in the running back room. That's never been a question going into a season. But this year they got the country's best pair of running backs with Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins. After them, though, the depth is very thin. There's very little to no experience. You got a pair of true freshmen, James Peoples, Sam Williams Dixon. I'm a big Peoples guy. You guys know that. And SWD is no joke either. So you should remember. I mean, I hear people say when Caleb Downs comes up as an option at running back, people ask why. Well, because we've had to use 5 running backs in 22 and 23 seasons. Yeah. Remember, we had to switch Chip Trayanum from linebacker to running back in 2022 to go against the cheaters. So depth is a thing. I think they should go with a deeper running back room personally. I think you should have more than 5 scholarship running backs. I know you got TC Caffey, but there's a reason why he's still a walk-on, and these other guys are scholarship. There's a big difference in the type of player. So Ryan Day said, quote, we started having conversations with Caleb Downs. That was part of the recruiting process of possibly doing a little bit of running back as well. It's something that he wanted to do. So we've been having him in some of the meetings and some of the individual drills as a possibility there, if needed down the road, to continue to build depth at that position. The last part of that sentence is key. Build depth at the running back position. That's the reason. I personally think this is not a Travis Hunter situation where Downs is going to play both ways for like an entire game or even a freaking quarter of a game. That's not happening. But maybe he gets a few touches per game. So over a 16-game season, maybe he gets up to 50 touches max, which, you could have some big plays out of those 50 touches, go for a few touchdowns. He has some impressive high school stats, running the ball and receiving. Honestly, I mean, the guy can do it all. Dad played running back in the NFL. His brother's a receiver in the NFL right now. So in his career, sophomore through senior year, he had 102 carries, so just over 100 for 650 yards. That's a 6.4 average. He had 27 touchdowns just on 100 carries. So 25% of the time he's punching it in the end zone. So he's obviously getting the ball a lot in short yardage. His senior year, he had 389 yards on 57 carries, a 6.8 average, and 20 touchdowns his senior year. So obviously inside the 5, they're getting downs in there. But receiving the ball, this should not be ignored either. His career receiving in high school, he had 569 yards receiving on 47 catches, a 12-yard average, 6 touchdowns. His senior year, he had over 400 yards receiving on 36 catches, 11.7 average, and 3 touchdowns. So the guy can do it all. It's just you don't want to blow him out and completely ruin him like we saw happen with Travis Hunter. Played a few games both ways, boom, injuries. The body cannot take playing college football, major college football, both ways for a 16-game season. There's a reason why NFL players don't do it. Yeah. So anyways, we'll see what happens. Again, I say get him a few touches a game on average. He doesn't have to play in every game, but I say you break him out in some of those Oregon games, cheaters, Penn State, get him some touches before then to get some live action in game, but we'll see what happens. Quarterback situation, no real change, obviously, for the Buckeyes. They had no update on the position battle. They haven't had any live practice reps in 2 months. So what is there to grade? We assume Will Howard is the favorite to take the job for the Buckeyes, but Devin Brown had his best camp of his Ohio State career so far. So Devin taking his game to another level makes it easy for Ryan Day to push this competition the way he likes to do into fall camp in August. So look for that. I expect nothing different from Ryan Day. Ryan Day said, quote, "There's really no update to say coming out of spring, and with where we are right now, that there's been a lot of movement in any position. That wouldn't be accurate. We won't really know much until we get into the preseason." So, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, spring is not a time for, jostling you're too deep, but he talked about the camps. He said there's joy in finding a diamond in the rough at these June camps, the recruiting camps. They have found a lot of guys this month that they've been impressed with, and the evaluations have got to be on point now more than ever. And he said there's also still time for a late bloomer. So, and that's why you see a few of these 2025 offers go out, like to Jake Cook, for example, on the O-line. I would call him a late bloomer. Exactly. What questions does Ryan Day still have on his mind? Offense, the quarterback needs to be squared away. The right side of the offensive line needs to be finalized. Receiver depth as well. Defensively, they need to figure out the third, fourth, and fifth interior linemen. Also, depth at safety. Behind Lathan Ransom and Caleb Downs, who do you have? That's the question. Then special teams. Punter. It's going to be a battle between a couple Aussies, it looks like. We'll see. I think that's his nod to Jim Tressel. The expectations this year is the same as they've always been every year, and the pressure is the same. He said, quote, "We've been talented, but I don't know if we've been this talented and this experienced." That's a key right there that he points out that a lot of people forget is, yeah, you got the returning seniors, guys coming back for their fourth year and stuff, but this group is talented and experienced. They're not just fifth-year seniors that are finally getting their crack at a starting job. No, these guys are talented with a lot of gameplay, game reps, so that's huge. We've seen it across college football in the past. Take the Cheaters, for example. I don't want to say that we're not following their mold or something like that, but there is a blueprint from previous teams to have your more experienced older guys leading the way, because of their age and just, if nothing else, their maturity, in size, knowledge of the playbook and everything else that goes with that. But how does Ryan Day feel about the linebackers? He said good versatility. You can see the length they have. They do a good job of fitting the runs. They have worked on getting better on blitzing this summer and spring, so that's good. Love to hear that. Splits the hell out of them. And there's no injury updates right now. The guys who didn't participate in spring have had full summer workouts and plan to have them for the entire camp, fall camp, and the season. So should be up 100% healthy in fall camp, and cross your fingers and toes and everything else that we get through fall camp. Excuse me. We get through fall camp 100% healthy and start the season that way. So a lot of good little nuggets there. I like hearing that this is the talented and most experienced team Ryan Day's had. Caleb Downs is fun thing to talk about. Might just be a distraction also, we'll see. But that's all I got for you today. Hey, please hit like and make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Or if you're listening on podcasts, please leave a review. I greatly appreciate it. You don't have to write a review. Just give me 5 stars and move on with your day. But make sure you're following the show on your favorite podcast app. All right. Talk to you later. Go Bucks.